The first African slaves arrived in Virginia in 1619. After that, a massive influx of slaves from Africa created a new business for many wealthy landowners. Plantations were built to produce a massive income for cheap price by using slavery. Slaves had been escaping and attempting to be free from oppressive slavery system, which would eventually lead to the American Civil War. The three phases of the abolition of slavery were the radical political and passive positions were instrumental to bring forth the complete abolition of slavery. These three symbolical people instruments for the abolition of slavery. Harriet Tubman was an escaped slave who partially but actively opposed slavery by creating an underground railroad. The Underground Railroad was a highway for escaped slaves who were on their way to freedom by going north to Canada, which was called the North Star. She once said, "My people must go free." Even among the many escaped slaves, she was still commonly determined to set her people free. This showed her determination to free all slaves, to eventually abolish slavery. Harriet Tubman never lost a fugitive fellow slave, or allowed any others to turn back. She stated that only the things to keep her going was her love for God and her pistol that was always at her side. If an escaped slave ever tried to go back, she would shoot them so that they would not tell on them. This showed how effective she was as a railroad conductor, since she had a perfect record for helping slaves escape. This shows how her pacific ways incited slaves to escape and brought forth the abolition movement. Frederick Douglass was also an escaped slave, but he focused on staying on the political side of the argument. He managed to escape Baltimore, where he kept on educating himself. Finally, he was able to express his ideas through the Liberator, a weekly journal that was a way for him to express ideas. He was also able to influence the abolition of slavery with the book he wrote. It was called The Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, an American Slave. That was an autobiography of what he endured through his life. He became so popular for his ideas and viewpoint of things that he eventually even planned and recruited some Northern blacks for the Union Army. He was able to bring together the blacks and the whites of the North and fought for equality. John Brown, a white abolitionist, he was remembered as the most militant abolitionist of all time. During his life, he lived in many different states, fathered many different children, and was also a constant state of bankruptcy. But even though he had all of these issues, he always helped the cause and would always contribute. One of his greatest achievements was the League of Gileadites, which would protect escaped slaves from slave hunters and such. He also moved into Kansas territory with five of his sons, began guerrilla tactics on the plantations, and anywhere where the pro-slavery ideals would be found. Because of all of his actions, he helped shape and was one of the leading reasons why slavery was finally abolished. He helped push it away so that many African American slave families. The three phases of abolitionist movement were the radical, pacific, and political. This helped bring forth the abolition of slavery by providing help from the shadows, such as Harriet Tubman did, or coming out full front for militant assault, such as John Brown did, or simply spreading ideas like Frederick